Faces up.
Face space.
Face space.
That would have been such a better name. But I'm not a
It was MySpace at the time, so face space might have been tough. All right.
I miss being able to put our music in a lot.
All right, I think we're up and running on all platforms. It's 11 a.m. Welcome everybody. This is the 70th episode of 034 weekly live chats. Last week was 69. I think we need to just reiterate that.
Yep.
Just for comedic effect.
You guys were very professional this week.
Yeah, I tried not to.
Didn't dive too deep.
Yeah,
We got a few comments that people said they were surprised that we did. You really
well,
Well, I mean, that joke can
I
be
didn't want to
turned
flip
around,
things around
so-
like that, you know, all of a sudden. So
for 70 and sending me 69.
yeah. So a quick story, which I always find is amusing because we talk about pretty openly about product quality issues. I've gotten really into biking the last couple of years, and so I got a road bike, and the tires were damaged. The brake pad was like cutting into the sidewall, and I bought it used. And so I changed the tires, and I got four brand new Continental racing tubes and tires, and all the tubes I put in leaked, and I thought I was going fucking crazy. And I talked to some friends who are really good, you know, bike mechanics, and they're giving me all these tips and pointers. And so I finally went on Amazon, and there's like a million one-star reviews about how all these Continental bike tubes leak, like the second you install them and put pressure in them.
It's just a thing.
And so I finally thought I got it right on the fourth tube yesterday. It held pressure. I bounced it. I rode around the block. So then I went on a 5-mile ride, and I got freaking stranded 3 miles from my house, and I had to walk back home in my clip-on bike shoes, in my like full like biking tights.
Garb.
Yeah, like through downtown Livermore, and I was just like freaking pissed. So even Continental can fuck shit up, and apparently they have. And I went and bought some Michelin tubes. Hopefully Michelin has their shit together, but yeah, you just never know.
It's rough.
I'm sure Continental has world-class quality. We run.
I'd say they're
we
tier
run
one,
their
I mean,
tires.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're OEM to Porsche and Audi and everybody. So, anyways, you know, not to justify it when we fuck things up, but it happens to the best of them. So, all right, we got a ton of questions. We'll jump in. Someone's asked. Oh, by the way, this is a question and answer, AMA style. If you didn't know, I'm Javad Shadzi, the CEO of 034 Motorsport, and this is Nate Stewart, the Director of Engineering. And we're here to answer any and all of your questions about 034 Motorsport products and services, anything you'd like to know about us or our experience, the history of the company, cooking tips. Nate's really good at 3D printing. I don't think we've ever had any 3D printing questions, to be honest, which surprises me.
We had like one way back. It was like something about material for like, can we use it?
Did
for
we? Yeah.
actual,
Just one,
like,
though.
on the car. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So, all right. So someone's asking, on your E85 tunes, as well as APR and a few other tunes, it says that they have accounted for seasonal ethanol contents from E60 to E85.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any dangers or risks of running as low as E60 if that's all a person can get in his or her area?
Well, no, I mean, that's kind of why we
Yeah.
specify it if it's down to E60 or not. That's yeah. if it were dangerous, we would say, you know, E70 or E80.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, sure. Ideally, you know, the higher the ethanol content, the better the fuel. You get most of the benefit, you know, north of E40.
Yeah.
E40 and up. So,
And that's
it's
what I was going to say is, you know, the difference between the power you can produce between E60 and E85 is minimal, marginal. And so, like Nate says, most of the benefit from E85 is at E40. But the problem is blending E40 is kind of a pain. So if you can just pump E85 into E85, which could be anywhere from E60 to E85, or even higher. Sometimes it could be even higher. But if you can just pump that into the tank, it's easier. You don't have to mess with it. But the power gain is good on E40, and there is some to be gained by going up.
Yeah,
to
there's
E60
certainly
or
some to be gained
higher.
going higher.
Which
so you
which
get-
we were able
which
to
is
do
why
on
we
our
do
B9.
which is why we
Yeah.
do an E85 file, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you should be okay. Obviously, it's better. It's nicer if you can get a little higher content, but
Yeah. And then the ECU still has all its and our tuning has all its factory OEM safety mechanisms and features
Yep.
that can ensure that if you fall outside of that range, that there's that those systems are still in place. Not all tuners are able to do that. They end up disabling some safety features in order to make the tune make power and do other things.
Yep.
Someone's asking for B8.5 S4. Do we offer high flow cats or a brand we can recommend? We do not offer high flow cats or any test pipe type anything for the B8. There are a number of brands out there. I don't think we have any personal experience with them.
yeah, no, I don't.
High flow cats on the B8 are on the 3.0T supercharged motor are tough. The factory cats do, admirably well, but even those don't last as long as
Yeah, I don't
other
know. I don't
applications.
know at this point that there's anything that lasts longer.
No,
that's been
no,
proven.
don't know. Not than factory.
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, yeah, right, there was a huge switch to a couple of brands in the last, over the last few years, and each claiming that they were going to, be the last cat you need to buy because the stock ones are failing. And I think all of those have also proven
There's
to
been
be,
a lot of failures and complaints.
non lifetime cats by any means.
Yeah, I hate to say it. If you're racing, a test pipe on the B8's not a bad idea.
Yeah, or you got to relocate and move the catalyst downstream a little bit.
Yeah, and we did look into doing a undercar product, which we probably should have done several years ago. But
yeah, keeping them right there in the stock location, it's going to be really tough.
But if you can work with a fabricator or an exhaust shop, and you can put some high quality stainless steel race cats under the car, like where there's the little factory resonators under the car, that's a good option. Let's see. B8.5 S4. Are there crackles on B8.5 tunes? Are crackle tunes bad for stock or high flow cats?
We transitioned all of the crackle overrun stuff to our basically the race files, the test pipe files, just as another measure of, we didn't feel that the crackles were necessarily inherently damaging or bad for the cat at such a low volume, but it's just another bit of EGT and disruption to the stock cat. So we moved everything to the test pipe files. So yes, B8.5 does have crackles. They're all on the test pipe files for those.
Yeah, but yeah, the factory ECU has protection mechanisms.
Yeah, and we use them. It was just one of those things. It's like, the stock cats, as we just discussed, have such a hard time lasting, or any cat in that application has a hard time lasting, that we just wanted to give it every chance it had.
Mm-hmm. Does your tune decrease lag on launch control between pedal release and launch? Currently running APR Ultracharger Stage 2 Plus and didn't notice a reduction in delay.
Yeah, so that's there is a little bit of a reduction from the time when you actually release the brake pedal, but it's probably not one that you would notice. Most of that delay is the actual clutches, doing their thing, getting you off the line. So there's only so much you can get around before the transmission kind of takes over and is working its magic to get you off the line.
Yeah. Can I run your tunes with the APR dual pulley Ultracharger hardware?
Yep. We have files
for pretty much everything.
Basically everything.
Yeah.
I think we're the only company right now that supports, I think, essentially every hardware option out there. So yeah, we've got Ultracharger files. We've got they were Hemi throttle body files. Those are now the super duper charger files, which will support a number of throttle bodies out there. We've got the hot dog adapter harness files. So, yeah, we've got you covered for pretty much anything, B8 or 8.5.
Yeah, and I mean there are other companies out there that don't support competitors' products. We obviously do it because we think it'll bring us more business. It's not necessarily purely
It's just one of those things too. It's
altruistic on our part, but
yeah, I mean, to some extent, that's true. It's also like why, if there's not a downside or it's not a huge thing.
No, I mean, it would be, we could say no, you can't run it on APR Ultracharger. You have to buy ours.
Yeah.
And we don't do that because frankly, we think that's kind of a
I
dick
will say
move.
that I do not like the way the APR Ultracharger stuff is set up.
Yeah.
I would much prefer you get a harness or whatever from us, or rewire the harness, and we get you onto a normal
Do you wanna
a normal
want to
throttle body.
explain a little bit about
Yeah,
what?
so there's with these drive-by wires, there's a couple of potentiometers in the actual throttle body itself, and a potentiometer will read like a a low resistance at one position and a high resistance at another. Um, there's two in every drive-by-wire throttle body, and one goes up and one comes down as the throttle body rotates. Normally, the B8s have what you could call a reverse rotation throttle body for most of the Volkswagen Audi group, where it rotates opposite of what most all other throttle bodies do in these cars. So almost every time you put an aftermarket throttle body on, it's opposite of what the B8 S4 is. So that's one issue. But the potentiometers in all these throttle bodies, they're not identical between the two. So when you just try and read from one or the other, they're starting and stopping at different places, and it can get really dicey to get the stock ECU happy with both of those signals without some pretty big kludgery and fudgery in there to just kind of expand what it'll allow and it'll take. And yeah, it can be a lot trickier to get a throttle body with a reverse rotation working correctly in that way, unless you fix some stuff in the firmware of the ECU that tells it what channel those actual potentiometers are supposed to be on, like it would have been done, if,
So you do it at the source instead of
in the
band-aiding
yeah,
it.
instead of trying to get to monkey around in the calibration area and try and just tell it like, hey, don't care about it if it's this far off or this far off, just go with it. We fix it in the firmware.
Or running a hot dog.
Or running a hot dog.
Which is
Yeah, we
even-
fix it in the firmware where it would have been done from the factory anyway for a given hardware configuration, and then you don't have to touch the calibration side at all. You just remap the actual flow of the throttle body, which we do. But aside from trying to gimmick it and get around all the sensor readings, yeah,
We just reprogram it at the source of what's controlling the throttle.
we fix it where it actually reads the signal instead of downstream.
But our tune that's compatible with the APR Ultracharger, we are not able to do that.
Yes. If you're using a full APR kit, then with their wiring setup, then
So you're getting a compromised product that works.
Yeah,
but
we feel it usually works, but they can be a lot fussier because the throttle bodies. It's tougher to get them to adapt.
So we would have some basis for saying that we don't support it anymore, and you have to buy ours.
Yeah.
We still haven't done that.
We also just tell you, hey, just repin it to this. That's what we'll do in most cases.
Yeah, and that's the right way to do it. Unfortunately,
You can use the same connectors and everything. You just got to pull some pins out, move them around.
I mean, the Ultracharger stuff's like super expensive.
Yeah, why?
It's like double.
I would assume it'd be
more
just
than
a
double.
legacy, like they found a kit or they had it on the car already.
No, people are still buying them. It's crazy. It's like people just like to waste money. Apparently, maybe we should raise our price.
Maybe we should call ours the Ultra Super Duper or Super Ultra Duper.
Well, we called it Super Duper.
I know, but it doesn't have Ultra in it. Maybe that's like
Is Super better than Ultra? So he's not called Ultraman. It's Superman. It's the best in the universe. He came from the Crystal Planet. Do you offer octane tunes above 93 for E40?
a naughty 40.
For B8.5?
Yeah, so we do. We offer 91, 93, 100, 104, and E40. So yes, we have
Damn. I'd say
everything you could want up there.
we've got all your options, bro.
Yep.
Another B8.5 S4. I have a local gas station with 110, but I can't get a confident answer if it's leaded or not. Well,
I'm gonna.
you just need to look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna strongly assume. Yeah, look up the brand. You can usually do that if it's
There
like a
is
Sunoco or whatever.
There is 110 unleaded, but it's most likely leaded.
I would be surprised on the street though. Like usually everything you can get at the pump has to be DOT.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
yeah, if it's from the pump,
if it's
it
actually at
should
a
be.
street pump and not a racetrack,
You just need
somewhere.
to look up. It'll say on the pump what brand the fuel is, and if it's Sunoco 110, just Google it,
Yep.
and I know it'll be called like Ultra Plus Premium Super.
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, and those names that may sound gimmicky, or they are gimmicky in marketing, but
Yeah.
usually you can
Like
follow that back to the manufacturer's website and see what the actual formulation is.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd be surprised if it was leaded.
Yes, because it's on the street.
Yeah.
It's probably unleaded. Yeah. It's just much easier to increase the octane of a fuel.
Oh, lead's a great octane.
Yeah.
But also kills everything.
Yeah. Let's see. Lots of tuning questions. I'm waiting on the 3.0T CREC tune for my Audi A7. Any update? I've asked many months ago. Will the CREC tunes support E85 since CREC engines have dual injection built in?
Yes.
CRECs are great.
CRECs are great. We really, wish they were in more cars, unfortunately, so that we could prioritize it higher right now. But it is on our map. We are going to be working on it, or we are working on it. I don't have, a solid ETA. There are a couple of other inherent weaknesses on the CREC, like supercharger clutches and things, because they've got a magnetic coupler decoupler. So that's something you got to look out for. Yeah, there's a couple of things that'll have to be worked around. But yeah, we don't have a solid ETA, unfortunately. Sorry, but we will have, when it comes, we'll have our full suite on that as well for all the octanes and the advanced launch and all that good stuff.
B8.5 S4? Man, B8.5 is
They're
a shiz
hot
right
this
now.
week.
Does your tune have some kind of fan speed control on the wiper stock? I saw a video, something like
Yeah,
that.
not the wiper stock. This is our all of our tunes for the B8 and B8.5 are advanced launch capable now. So that's controlled by the cruise control stock. So if you watch, we've got a couple of videos. I think it's right on the product page. Yeah, it's right on our product page on our website for our stage 1 and stage 2 and 2 plus. To show you how that works. But it's cruise control stock. You turn the cruise control on, fans will come on to help cool the intercooler coolant loop. So yeah, yep, that's all there. And then of course you get all the raunchy launch control fun too.
And then same application. Do you have install guides for your parts? Been buying a lot of them lately. For B8.5 S4, but this would apply to anything. We do. So any of the new products that we've released really in the last 4 years all have install documents, virtually all of them.
Yep.
The issue was going back, we've been in business since 2004 or so. Our website has been up since then. In the past, we did not have the time or resources to create install documents for products that we felt like didn't really absolutely need them. So if they were like factory type installation, we didn't do it. We are now going back and doing install guides for those products. There's probably 500 or 800 that need to be done. There's another question down here asking about C5 S6 control arm kit, and they wish there was instructions. Each one of these install guides takes days. So I don't know if you want to multiply
A day's
500 times 3 days.
Yeah, and for a lot of these older products,
It's a monumental project.
Sometimes it's hard finding a vehicle that it doesn't already have it for one.
Yeah.
That's that we can get our hands on. Otherwise, it's another day. Depending on the part, but putting it all back to stock so that we can then.
And something like a control arm kit, it's going to be deprioritized because it's just the same as factory.
Yeah, a lot of these are literally just OEM procedures.
Yeah. So, again, on new products, it's part of our engineering and product development procedure to do that. But we're doing our best. So if you have install questions, don't be afraid to email us, contact@034motorsport.com if you want to kind of take a look at things beforehand. Also try Googling it. You'll be surprised how many of our customers have done install.
YouTube's cover
YouTube videos, forum posts. Facebook's harder to search, but there is a lot of resources out there already. And then some of the stuff, it's just common sense. You just need to kind of take a look at it. Or if you have a factory install guide, I know you can buy those you can get subscriptions to them pretty cheap.
Yeah, the factory stuff. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's like $35 a day if you just need to get a set of documents or whatever for your car. You can get all the wiring diagrams, all of the factory repair procedures. It is super easy these days.
You can get yearly subscriptions.
And you get yearly subscriptions if you're hardcore.
Not that much more.
Honestly, the factories, the one day you can download what you need, and then you've got it to do. When you're doing the work, you don't have to have it. That day that you're doing the work necessarily.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the Audis and Volkswagen have made it super easy to get all of the documentation these days for not a lot of money.
Yeah. Someone's asking, is a downpipe really needed for stage 2 tune on an Audi S4 S5 B9? Can we get away with an upgraded intercooler and air intake? IE claims to have the same power figures with and without a downpipe for stage 1 and stage 2.
Okay.
Well, if you're running IE and you don't want to make more power in stage 2, then knock yourself out. Our stage 2 does make more power with a high flow cap.
Yeah.
I think our stage 1 makes more power than theirs, but our stage 2 makes even more. And yes, if you want to unlock that power in stage 2, you're going to need to run a higher flowing catalytic converter. You're also going to need the other stuff as well. What you're talking about doing is really more of like a stage 1 plus. So if you run our stage 1 and you install an intake and an intercooler, you will make more power than what we advertise stock. With stock parts, there is additional power unlocked that puts you kind of between stage 1 and stage 2. So we plan on kind of solidifying that configuration and publishing some information on it, and we'll call it stage 1 plus. And we won't sell it or charge it. It'll just be part of stage
Part
1.
of the stage 1 stuff. Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. Like a competitor comes out with a product, makes less power, and then people like want to divert to that. I don't get that. So no, run our stuff, make more power, better drivability. That's kind of what it's all about. So, all right, let's just tackle this big one. All right, hold on. Since we're on B8.5
You do have any more
roll,
catch up here?
I just bought a
There you go.
B8.5 S4 that has an APR Stage 2 ECU TCU tune. Why should I switch to 034? Oh, we've gone over this so many times.
I think
I think even last week.
was asked last week.
Yeah. We'll link you to a video. We've already answered that, so let's move on. And Sean will provide the link. Thank you, Sean. Any more B8.5? Okay.
Murder Google.
So here's a big one.
Hold on. All right.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to
There we
start
go.
reading.
All right, you keep reading.
I know this has been asked 1,000 times at least, probably.
Getting
But
there.
have you updated the B9 tune for Crackles? I think it's more like 5,000
It
times.
might be.
What else is coming with this update? Okay, so let's just review it. As far as Crackles go, or burbles, or pops and bangs, or Rice Krispies,
Popcorn, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Chick Magnet,
Poops and boops.
adjustable via drive mode. So depending on the different drive mode you're in, it'll get more or less aggressive, right? I mean, we can assume burbles are not very comforting. So if you want to be comfortable, we're gonna tone.
It's going to be, often. Just like it is stock, it'll be often comfort.
Yeah. But if you switch into DTF mode, it's all the burbles.
It's non-stop.
And
Seat
then
massagers kick on too.
yeah, oh yeah, seat massager. Use individual mode engine sound setting to toggle.
So you can, if you want dynamic mode without crackles, you can set your individual to have everything dynamic except engines.
Yeah.
You
Right.
have no crackles, but dynamic everything.
Yeah. So these cars thankfully have quite a bit of in the ECU it's called driving or charisma mode. But it's you can tailor the individual mode on these to actually turn on.
That's literally what burbles give you.
It's literally called the charisma setting
Yeah.
in the ECU. So yeah,
It's similar to like when you get really drunk and your personality gets way better.
internally, yes, it does.
Okay, and then launch control adjustments for better launching times.
Yep. We're tweaking those.
So RPM adjustable.
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's just some different settings and different mappings that we're doing to get
Eventually,
the car off the line. quicker.
eventually, when advanced launch control. Is
Correct.
yeah.
Yep.
So there will be more launch adjustments, and then fan control adjustments. Any insight there?
That is more of
Fixing
the
mostly?
yeah. Some people were getting pretty active fan activity where we just sat down and went through a bunch of those just to kind of find a happy medium. We do alter the way the fans are controlled to manage temps more proactively, and it's just finding that happy medium for everybody.
Yeah. There's going to be some drivability improvements and fixes.
Yeah,
There's a
that
little
is,
bit of
like,
surging and certain
super
gears.
light load,
Yeah.
like 8th gear, 15 to 1700.
It's stuff that we didn't even notice until
Like,
hundreds of
we
people
got
were
limit
running
some
the
people.
team. Stage 1 plus optimizations, as I was
We just talked
discussing.
about that.
So with the intercooler and intake, the tune will make more power. So we're optimizing for that, and that will just be part of stage 1, or it'll be a separate flash.
For the One Plus, we'll likely list it. I think with the stage 1 files, we'll say like plus intercooler and,
Yeah.
intake.
So there'll be a separate. You can flash One Plus onto your car if you have those additional components. Exhaust flap open and dynamic all the time. We will be adding that.
Yep.
Neutral revving to redline.
They're near. Yeah. It's you can consider it red line.
This is also one of these features that just brings in chicks like crazy. You just sit there revving your engine.
Your charisma goes up with the new.
They just run to the car. And then when soon?
Yeah, I was actually talking with the calibrators about that this morning.
It's not like
literally
we are
right
working
before
on
we
it.
walked in
Yeah.
here. So I think we're trying to shoot for next week to get all those out.
But just for a point of reference, this entire update was literally one of these bullets, which was drivability improvements. And so now it's ballooned into all these additional, we're adding features and additional fixes and additional optimizations. So it's taken longer than the initial estimate we gave. However, we're bringing 10 times more
It's a bigger
to the
update,
update than what we said it would be originally. So that's our excuse. And then just a quick point of reference on our B9 tune this weekend, ourselves on our in-house car, full weight with street tires, zero drag prep. In draggy, we ran at 11.24 at 121 on a designated closed course area in Central
I
America.
think that was with about 3/4 of a tank of fuel too.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it
this had the back seat and everything.
Yeah, it was a legit run.
So we're very excited to go to the track and run a track prepped version
full
of
prep.
this. So our goals is to hit 11.0 or faster. So and the competitor ran a slower time than this 11.24 with a track prep setup. So we're feeling pretty good that we're running faster than they are full street
On the street, like
on a closed course in Central America is actually further south than Mexico, and there's actually less laws down there,
that's a good point.
which is why we went there to do this.
And not negative 2000 DA.
Yeah, no, and that's
No, is that what it was?
Positive,
That's what they had.
The other.
That was minus
the other-
2000.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was not a good DA. This was like a.
it was. Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was good, but
it was like
it wasn't
we're,
bad.
we're talking like I think all of the DA was between 800 and
Yeah.
1500.
It wasn't
Like
negative.
that. It wasn't
for sure.
wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either.
Yeah. All right. There was
A bunch of questions we're just sifting through here.
yeah. Oh, so I think we answered this C5 S6 control arm question. Why are 034 Motorsport upgrades better than OEM hardware? Well, there's a lot of different answers to this question. However, it depends. Well, let's start on one end of the spectrum. It depends what you're seeking from the parts on your car. So Audi is an OEM manufacturer. They have stringent reliability and quality standards. They have an impossible mission of pleasing as many people as possible, customers. They have regulations, laws, international, in every country in the world that they sell in. They have investors, they have a board of directors, they have legal, lawyers, liability. They have budgets, very strict. Like literally, if they could save 1 penny on a spark plug that they use 10 million a year of, you can see how the numbers start to add up.
Scale. I mean, some of these items you can't scale.
It has to be scalable. It has to be manufacturable. It has to be fast and efficient to install on a production line. All this stuff, right? So Audi does an amazing job with all that. And this highly compromised, comfortable, pretty reliable car shows up. And then we get to do our thing, right? So we get to build on top of what they do. So, like, for example, our control arm kits. We're not engineering control arm kits from scratch. So we're taking the work that Audi did and whatever manufacturer they worked with, and we get to analyze that, build on top of that, right? So we don't have to recreate it in most cases. Now, in some cases, we are completely recreating the product, but the difference at the most fundamental level is at 034 Motorsport, we're doing everything from a perspective of typically performance, driving enjoyment, long-term reliability. And so we can kind of strip away a lot of those compromises. We don't really care about the people who want really soft, quiet rides. Those aren't our customers. So we get to like throw them off the bus. And what we're left with is a group of people who love to drive fast and like to have fun driving their car, who are okay with a little bit more noise and vibration. In fact, they like it. They want to hear the exhaust louder. They don't mind a little NVH. They don't mind hearing the road noise. In fact, it helps them feel what the car is doing when they're driving it. And so then now we can really fine tune the products on the car to this much smaller group of people, and we don't have to make as many compromises. Okay. So that's the number one thing, that advantage we have over OEM is we can cater these parts for you all who have very similar tastes and interests. Now within that there is some range. Some of you all like really stiff, raunchy stuff. Some of you guys really want it to feel OEM, but you want it to perform better. And so there is some challenges there for us. And typically,
we do have compromises that we have to choose. We're not.
And many times we offer different products, so we have our motorsport line of mounts and suspension components, and then we have Dynamic Plus on the other end, and then we have density line, and then within density line we have street density and track density. So again, we're still taking out the compromises by releasing two different products for each. Audi kind of does that. They have the A4 and the S4, and if you really want the highest performance and you don't mind more vibrations and whatnot, then there's the RS4. But as far as like what's better about our products, typically they always perform better than factory. That's our commitment. If it's a performance product, obviously our carbon fiber engine cover doesn't make your car faster. It just matches visually the design cues of the intake, hopefully, that you bought from us, that does add horsepower and performance to your car. Typically, our products are more reliable than factory. They'll last longer, especially like if you're talking about our density mounts or our motor mounts, our control arm kits, our silicone breather hose kits are pretty much lifetime products. The factory hoses need to be replaced like every few years. So those are just a few of the things. But we're here to make improvements on factory. We're not here to make worse stuff. I mean, that's the only reason we can exist. That would be pretty stupid. Like, why would a customer come to 034 Motorsport to get something that's worse than what they already have on their car? So there's just a really fundamental concept that we have to be better than the factory. Otherwise, we have no reason to exist. All right. Will you be offering rolling AMAX shifting for your ZF8 tunes?
We hadn't really discussed that as
I mean, is AMAX even applicable to Tiptronic?
I mean, what I'm assuming they want is a roll race mapping. We can do that. We haven't, honestly, this is the first time anybody's ever requested it. So I'll put it in the queue and see if we want to get any further with it. But it's doable. We'll take a look at that. The trick is going to be like,
I mean,
making it not AMAX when you don't want to.
Doesn't the B9 S4 from the factory kind of have that?
Oh, they do.
Yeah, it shifts very differently.
Yep.
When you do,
but it's only from launch.
Yeah.
Typically, that's what triggers it. So there are ways you can put it into different shift strategies, and we'd have to look at that. I'm hazarding to guess that it would be entering AMAX a little too much in most situations, but. Mm-hmm. May not be too bad. It's a more abrupt shift, for sure.
For a stage 2 Audi S4 S5 B9 intercooler upgrade for quarter mile, do you recommend bar and plates or tube and fins? Why? I've talked about this before. If your only purpose is to do drag racing, then I typically would recommend bar and plate, because bar and plate is a more massive assembly or construction type that relies on actual chunks of aluminum, bars and plates, that just puts more metal, more aluminum into the intercooler core. So what that gives you is more thermal capacity. And so when you're launching and you're in the eighth mile, that heat doesn't transfer to the air because there's still not very much airflow. But that intercooler has this reservoir of conductivity built into it because of the mass.
Yeah, it doesn't transfer to the outside air. So it's
To the outside,
pulling the heat
yes.
out of the intake air, out of the intake, charge air
Yeah.
that's coming up into your motor.
And it's holding it in the
puts it into the aluminum essentially. Yep.
the only way the intercooler can get rid of the heat that it takes out of the intake charge is through ambient air. And if you don't have ambient airflow because you're going 20 miles an hour, then the heat has to go somewhere. The problem becomes now you've got all this heat in your intercooler. It's in the aluminum, and now it takes longer to come out. Right. So think of thermal capacity as a reservoir, and so the water goes in, it can hold more water, but then it takes longer for the water to go out as well. So if you do have a bar and plate intercooler, you want to monitor your air temps. You want to typically do more cool down driving after your run. If you can spray it with water, that will help because
Fans, water.
the heat will go into water is very conductive, and that heat will go into the water, and then the heat energy will be used to evaporate the water, which evaporating water uses tremendous amounts of energy. Like try boiling water, you see how much gas or electricity you have to put into that pot. But yeah, the advantage of a tube and fin is that it transfers the heat more efficiently to ambient because there's less capacity. It cools down much faster. But when you're not moving, a lot of that heat's gonna stay in your intake charge because it just has nowhere to go. The aluminum is now at capacity. It can only hold so much heat, and so the heat stays in the air and it goes into your motor.
Yep.
Now I'm speaking in generalizations here. One tube and fin intercooler could possibly outperform a different.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah, there's intercooler construction is tough to
Yeah.
quantify in just A or B. There's a lot of intricacies that can go into those tubes and those fins.
And then just the size, like a tube and fin that's twice as big as a bar and plate could have just as much thermal capacity. Mm-hmm. But then the point Nate just made, which is very important, is there are turbulators inside the intercooler and outside.
Yep.
And these turbulators create surface area for the transmission or conductivity of heat from the air to the aluminum back to the ambient air. And the design of those turbulators is really important. And if you see a lot of these cheap eBay intercoolers, some of them just have, if you take a close look, the tubes, the internal flow area of the tubes is extruded aluminum. And so they kind of extrude these tubes out, which the engine air flows through, and they try to extrude some fins and some ridges inside there. But the amount of surface area is a fraction amount of what you would get from proper true turbulators, like what you'd see in a factory OEM core. Garrett has really good aftermarket cores. Bell Engineering has good ones. Some of the best ones I've seen are from the factory. And then there's this dynamic of if you have too many turbulators, you reduce flow. So these eBay intercoolers flow a lot, but they just let the hot air flow right through. And then if you have an OEM intercooler, say the factory is designing an intercooler for a 200 horsepower engine, so they generate the maximum number of turbulators to flow for about 200 horsepower. So if you put a big turbo on and you raise your boost and now you're making 300 horsepower, you now have a massive flow restriction. Now you have a lot of efficiency to pull heat out, thermal efficiency, but the air just can't get through the intercooler because the turbulators are too tight. So there's a lot that goes in intercooler. I'm speaking in generalizations, but generally, if you had two intercoolers that were of the same quality, the same engineering, and the same size, what I'm saying would generally apply. Okay.
And I don't know if we touched on weight. Weight is another big thing. if we're talking quarter mile stuff, the bar and plate will be usually, I'd say probably 50% heavier.
Yeah, probably twice as much.
Yeah. So that's
Which is why it has more thermal capacity.
right. Yeah, it's got to go somewhere. But that's another consideration as well. So there's a lot of metrics to try and balance out between them.
ZF8. People are getting really cranky about this one.
Well, this guy is. Yes,
Might be the same guy.
we are trying to get the ZF8 stuff done as quickly as possible for everybody. It ties in with a lot of stuff we're trying to also do on the ECU side. So it's more than just a ZF8 tune. It is, it's going to be paired with lots of advanced launch things as well. So, it's more involved than anything else that's out there on the market. And yes, we are working on it. We're trying to get it done quickly.
Opinions and feelings of Ken Block signing with Audi. Well, I feel like Ken Block's bank account is probably pretty happy right now. Ken Block is obviously a very dynamic household name in our industry. Does amazing, exciting things. I think it's really smart for Audi to partner with him. Audi all OEMs have the challenge of making electrification exciting.
Yes.
And how do you do that? Well, you hire Ken Block, who's gonna gymkhana the shit out of your electric car and do donuts and jump it and do like the Hot Wheels loop to loop. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I'm sure it'll be fucking amazing. My good friend Brian Scotto, Nate knows him too. Works with Ken Block. They do incredible work. So I'm sure it's a huge win for them as well to sign up with Audi.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is not cheap. I mean, Hoonigan, they're doing things at really the highest level of marketing and advertising.
Well, it's really interesting too because it's basically like a full factory effort on a Hoonigan, on a Hoonigan car. Like this is what Ford put into it. What Subaru used to put into it. Now it's moved to Audi. So it'll be really interesting to see what this next generation brings for sure.
Yeah,
it'll be great for us to watch. No doubt there.
Yeah, and Tesla is the big electric competitor. They've had at least a 5-year head start, and Tesla has somehow pulled off the whole sexy thing. They launched a Tesla into space and put a mannequin in it, and it's now heading to Mars with the Major Tom song playing. Nobody quite knows what this Tesla is going to do when it gets to Mars. Maybe it'll just crash right into the surface, or it'll just orbit Mars for eternity. Because I don't think a Model S can drive on Mars.
Is that an S? I thought that was his old Roadster. I think it was.
Was it a Roadster? Okay, it was a convertible.
Yes.
But Elon Musk is a master of like kind of gimmicks and hyping things. There was this. Remember the Tesla truck that like they sold like 1 million of them, and it's been like years since anyone's heard about it. I mean, people are assuming that they'll come out with it someday, but I don't want to get off on a tangent. My point is that's what Audi's competing with. So how do you catch up to that? How do you outdo Elon Musk's Roadster heading to Mars, or the fact that he just named his baby, I don't know, Aeon Flux or something like that. Some like video game character. So the Elon Musk is larger than life, and Tesla has benefited from that. So that's what Audi's competing with, and who better to use than Ken Block? It's brilliant. And just for the record, Audi, I'd be happy to drive any of your electric cars if you wanted to give me one. I'll put a windshield banner on it.
Yeah,
a lot of people offer that. They say, "Give me some free parts. I'll put a windshield banner
sticker on it
around town." Yeah. So I figure that's gotta really have a lot of value.
Somebody must. It must work.
We've heard them all. Gosh, there's a lot of questions. You have a strut brace for B9S Q5 and B8 S4. I have a B8 Q5. When's mine turn for the strut brace? Well, mine. This is it right here.
Use's turn is coming up.
So this is not bolted together, but I will hold it together. This is our B8 SQ5 strut brace. Let's see if we can fit it in the. There we go. Oh, the closer I get, the bigger it gets.
Oh yeah, that happens.
So anyways, this is our billet aluminum strut brace. It works as good as it looks. It is made of 5 separate pieces, so it's not too expensive to ship. And it all bolts together very neatly with hidden hardware from behind. We're really proud of this design, and I'm really happy with how it came out.
And like disassemble some here so you can kind of feel
Yeah.
how it all interlocks, so it's all
Yeah, and even
mechanically linked and
like
keyed together.
this like slides out, and it's really trick.
Yeah.
And then it has our beautiful titanium finish and a nice 034 Motorsport logo. So when are we launching these?
Soon.
Yeah, so we're doing, I don't know if we've talked about this, but we are updating our website to a new version of Magento. So we haven't had any product releases for a couple weeks because we don't want to
Yeah, we've been in a
change the
freeze. We're
website.
moving data back and
Yeah.
forth.
So we have these here. They're in stock. If you come to our service department, you could buy one. But we have not been able to add this to our website. But I believe it's going to be in a week or two, if everything goes well. You know how website stuff always goes so smoothly. One of our competitors has been updating their website for like 15 years.
That's true.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Yeah.
It's coming soon. So, anyways, do we know retail on this? I know it's set, but you know,
Effective.
it's cost effective. It's not cheap. It's not going to be $200, but it's a very nice, beautiful piece. I think it looks beautiful. Yeah, there it is. It's still
We're
launching.
busy watching it.
They're busy. Yeah. It when you pop the hood, it looks amazing, and it's definitely more structurally rigid than the factory piece. All right. Is there an ETA on high pressure fuel pump upgrade for the B9 S4? We do not have an ETA. This is not an easy product to manufacture.
It's going to take a good deal of testing and time.
So we are currently speaking with a manufacturer that does aerospace manufacturing, and they can do it for us, but they're currently engaged with some really big aerospace customers and actually some factory OEM customers as well. So we're trying to get some priority with them, but we're obviously a small potatoes, maybe even peas compared to that. So we don't have an ETA. Obviously, if we could release it today, it would be great. We need it for tuning. We will be doing high pressure fuel pump tuning.
Yep.
Kind of the destiny of B9 S4 stage 3 tuning depends on this. So the other option would be to do staged injectors, which we don't
We
need to
need
do.
not yet. No, we need to get the pump done.
Yeah. So sorry, no ETA, but I think we'd be thrilled to be able to release something, say, in the spring or summer of next year. We're looking into some other options of, some more readily available options, but our goal is to manufacture a whole new part that upgrades the factory one, much less, much like what's been available for other FSI fuel pumps for years. I saw a post on Facebook where people and 034 dealers are claiming the quality of your density control arms, bushings and ball joints, and strut tops have gotten worse over the years and that you don't warranty replace them when they fail. Is this true? Well, I don't know what was said other than what you just said here. I will say we track warranty returns and claims closely. It's in our best interest to take accountability when problems arise. Now, if it's a one-off thing where it's clear that it was installed improperly, the problem with the control arms is we have lots of customers that come to us and say the bushings failed, but they didn't install the control arms correctly, and they installed them in a fully relaxed position with the car in the air.
And torque them.
And then they torque the bolts down, and then they put the weight of the car in. So now the bushing is always in twist. And then when the suspension compresses, it twists twice as far as the bushing was ever designed for. Of course, it's going to fail. So we do not warranty those when we can determine that that's what happened. But certainly, if we believe that there is any OEM manufacturing defects or issues, then we will warranty it regardless of how old it is. and we will fix it and address it. We have extremely low failure rates according to the warranty claims and emails, and well, we get only emails now. So these are not these are some of our most reliable products as far as warranties go, and we sell tons of them. So there are thousands of new customers a year buying these new products, and so if you even have a very small failure rate, you multiply that times a very big number, and it starts to become a decent number of people. And you compare that to a competitor who sells 100 sets a year, who has a higher failure rate, but it's less people and they make less noise. So, I mean, I would push back saying that we don't have good customer service or we don't warranty. I simply know that's not true. We track this. The quality is not getting worse. We track it. We know if it was getting worse, we would have to address that. Yeah, this is a good point. FCP Euro sells all of our control arm and density line products. They offer a lifetime warranty. If they were having a high failure rate and they were having to replace a lot of product that they sell, they would drop our product. We know that's true. ECS also sells our products, and they have similar standards for quality. They would drop our products if there were quality issues. So those are two, I would say, independent reference points that that speak for themselves. But we've been selling these products in some cases for almost 15 years, and I know sometimes something will pop up and some guy from 9 years ago comes on and starts bashing us, and some of these people just follow these threads around, and it's like a form of entertainment for them to troll us. So I think just use good judgment when you read this stuff. I wouldn't feel comfortable coming on the air and exposing myself to criticism if I was trying to sell shitty products that were low quality and I didn't stand behind them. This would be the last place I'd want to be, getting asked these type of questions. So, all right, moving on. And thank you for bringing that up. We love addressing, potentially unsavory topics like that, because for us, product problems, product quality, it's an opportunity to improve. So we embrace it. In fact, we spend all of our time focusing on, almost all of our time, customer service wise, focusing on potentially problematic products.
Yeah, we literally every week we'll sit down and talk about, what issues, returns, problems across the product lines are we encountering.
Yeah, here literally the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if any of our products squeak, we don't always use grease, but and we do have one very vocal troll out there who loves to jump in every thread, and he basically recycles the same few lines. So just it's just like when you're reading Yelp reviews. You gotta use some judgment. You can't just believe every 1-star review you read. What's the most horsepower you guys have made on any platform? For sure, the most horsepower we've ever made was the Time Attack A4 with our 2.9 liter. So it was a R2.9. So we had a R32 head VR6 on a 2.9 liter block, and with the GT, was it with the GT45?
I think it was the 45.
Yeah, the GT45R. We also ran the GT42 RS, which made almost the same power. We made 908 wheel at the Eurotuner GP
With wheels.
with wheel spin on a Mustang, was it?
What was that?
So this was kind of fun.
Yeah,
So
it was a while back.
That car had a side exit exhaust. So there were two big exhaust pipes that came out underneath the driver's door. And this particular shop didn't have good ventilation. So they set this big, those big 4-foot diameter, just normal fans. They set that in front of the exhaust so that it could kind of blow the air out a bay door that was nearby. And on that 908 wheel horsepower pull, the exhaust pushed the fan about 3 feet and then knocked it over. So that was a lot of exhaust
Yeah,
coming out.
like 2.5
Going
waves.
through a 4-foot diameter fan. But that was the most power we've ever made, I think.
Yeah, that was on. Yeah, we were getting wheel spin because I was. We were
Mm-hmm.
limited to tires we could run for that event, so we were on like Continental street tires.
Yeah, and that was
contacts
about
or something.
40, probably 45 pounds of boost, and I believe that was at about 8,500 RPM. Unfortunately, that motor would valve lift above that. We would try to rev it higher. We designed valve springs and we redid the valve train, and it's still. We eventually moved on from the VR6 partially for that reason. They're not good high revving motors, unfortunately, because of the way the rockers are set up. They float at
Crazy RPM.
above 8,500 RPM. So, but yeah, that's the most. And then ADTQ, we made an engine dyno verified 850 crank horsepower.
And that was on the. So that was also another class limited. We were running a 2.2 liter for that.
That was a 2.3.
2.3. Okay.
And
there was a limit of displacement.
And that was with a GT40 RS on 100 octane fuel. So that was completely the
That's right. We were octane limited.
The octane was, so we made a lot of power with 100 octane. I mean, it felt like a strung out 91 octane tune, you know.
And that was to like 9 something.
Yeah, we were. That was 9,500 in that motor, and that engine had solid lifter valve train, no valve float issues.
Vacuum pumped on that motor and a bunch of other fun stuff.
But I think one of the most impressive things we did is that subsequently we put a 2-liter tall deck stroker 1.8 T in the time attack car, and at a subsequent Eurotuner GP we made like 650 wheel.
Yeah.
And like 500 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. And there was, I remember there was like a Mercedes twin turbo V12 there. And it made like 700 foot-pounds of torque. And people were like, oh my God, it makes so much torque. And so I just punched some numbers up of torque per liter or torque per cylinder. And our little 4-cylinder completely decimated this V12 that was making like 700 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah, and that's one of the
that was like 6 liters
to explain what goes into making the power per liter, the amount of power you can make per a given displacement.
But that little motor was extremely powerful, and that was a fun those 2-liter tall decks, we were revving that past 9 as well. Really nice setup. Cool. That was a great question. Thank you. We've kind of moved on from the big power game. Like there's a handful of tuners out there still trying to do that. We've moved on to making high quality, reliable parts that everyone wants, that everyone can enjoy.
Those monster cars are fun, but it doesn't really help us get product to you guys that you want. So.
They're good for marketing, but they don't result in like making your B9 S4 faster on the street.
Yeah, say for like 2 or 3 guys that really want to go full bonkers.
Yeah. So we just don't focus on that, and then sometimes people accuse us of not being able to do it, but that's what we did for the first 10, 12 years of the company's history, was all that stuff. We do. Yeah, it's still not going to be a horsepower king, probably
per displacement.
Yeah. Our S4.0 T will be a very powerful project, more power than our TTRS makes a ton of power too, but it's on the stock turbo. But fat weird question. That's the first one of those.
That is a fat weird intro.
Aggressive stock block capabilities on the 2.5 liter 5C Audi RS TTRS motor.
So that's
asking on the stock block data.
Basically our stage 2. I mean, it depends. You can get a little more top end if you go like a hybrid turbo, but the torque wise,
it is.
They're
You're
limited.
right there. It's our stage 2 E85.
Yep.
And then if you just replace the rods, the torque handling goes up quite a bit. Yep. But
stock block. I would say 450 wheel.
Now, if you want to run a bigger turbo and you keep torque low, I mean, you look at the Malakas, they ran stock block up until like 800 wheel or something like that. But they had to control the torque. Torque is what bends rods, not the horsepower. We talk about this a lot. Torque's what slips clutches. Torque's what breaks axles, and drivetrain inertia and things like that. But ultimately it's the torque that has the energy or the mechanism to
The
break
torque.
things. Yeah, the torque,
It has the torque
which
to
is
break
literally
things.
what torque is. Torque is torque. It's profound. That's the best definition of torque I've ever heard. ETA on the B8.5 2.0T ECU TCU tunes. Will stage 2
Yeah, I feel like
downpipe
we
be
should
available
probably
at the same time?
clarify this one a little more and fill it out. I mean, we cover a lot of the 8.5s already, as long as it's not the ethanol motor. So we should probably clarify that better, I think, on our product.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right now,
we,
it seems.
we need to better clarify it.
Yeah,
It's not the E85, as long as it's not the E85, which is like
Then we
the
should
autos.
launch
Yeah.
whatever we have for
we need
for
to, we need to,
B8.5.
we need to make that clearer for sure. So yeah, we'll get a better listing up of exactly.
So we do have tunes that are compatible with some B8.5s,
Yep.
and then
So that would only be
B8.5 manuals and the non-auto flex fuel cars.
non-auto.
I'm sorry, that was
Non-flex
that was a double inclusion.
non-flex.
Non-flex fuel cars, which are automatics.
Yeah. So if you have a non-flex fuel B8 or
Yep.
B8.5, we probably have a tune for you.
Yep.
If it's flex fuel, that's the one we're working on, which is not necessarily specific to 0.5. Only 0.5s have it, but not all 0.5s are flex fuel.
Right.
And I don't know when are we slated to? Is that like an early next year thing?
I don't know if it's that far out. Maybe end of the year.
I mean, the year's almost over.
I
We got
know
3 months.
it's running up fast, but
It's the freaking 27. This is crazy.
Yep. We're constantly throwing irons in the air we're working on a lot of things right now.
For B9 S4, are you seeing limitations with full E85 versus running E40? And IE says E40 is better for mid-range, where E85 is better for top end. That's absurd.
I mean, yes, it's out of fuel in the mid range, but we don't feel we need to make any more from a
But we're making more
reliability
torque than
and
them
I don't
with
know.
E85.
And
So it doesn't make sense.
why did they run E85 at their drag?
I mean, they did?
Yeah, for their time.
They ran full
They
E85.
claim their E40 files like the road course file, not where you're not in the top end.
But you're always winding it out on a road course, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't
Road
know.
course doesn't matter what fuel you're running. It matters the power delivery and the tuning.
The top
kinda
end.
silly.
You're always in the top end on a road course stuff. You're not sitting in seventh
I
gear.
just have to wonder, like, why they're saying that. Could they not figure out how to do a full
They have
E85
a
tune?
E85. I don't know.
But I mean, they couldn't figure out how to do a production version of it.
No, they have both.
Yeah,
They do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're just trying to differentiate from us to say that or something. But yeah, we don't get it. Like, we're not going to go do an E40 tune because it's better. I don't believe we will do that. It might be something we have to resort to on stage 3 stuff.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like,
You
so
know,
we're-
if we can't get more fuel.
Yeah, we're out of the mid-range fueling for sure on E85. We don't want to go any. We don't want to push it anymore. But
Well, we're not out, but I mean, we're
I'm sorry.
we're
Yeah,
we're optimized.
we're
to
optimized
that
where we
region.
need to be for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking literally like spool up. Like, it's not.
our tune literally has no fueling issues in the mid range, and no one ever asked that until IE somehow made up this thing about E40. So
Yeah, I think EPL was pushing it for a little bit too, but
yeah. All right, moving on. ETA on B8.5. Oh, we did that one. Oh
wow.
shit, it's 12:03.
Here, just cranking here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I guess we're out of
I
time.
guess we're done.
Did it end?
Not yet. The Instagram will
Okay.
normally sometimes kick us off, but
Okay.
I think we're still going.
Well, we have a whole nother show for next
We've
week.
got questions stacked up here.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Actually, next week's gonna be tough.
Yeah, maybe the week after.
Yeah.
If